Damn, I can't think of any convenient way to lead into today's topic. That wasn't your cue to interrupt me. What? I've done this topic like 3 times. There are only so many ways someone could say 2106 is slightly above average. Actually, scratch that.
Train horns, I would never be able to single out 2106 without it.
Basically, every single piece of rail rolling stock with a cab has a train horn in the modern day. So for our purposes today, we'll just be going over a handful of services that either have a fleet of great train horns, min horns, or some horns that are straight up awful.
Starting off, let me remind you that this show is named after an SC-44. I mention that because living in San Diego, where the most common passenger locomotive is a Charger, I've heard the same raised letters so much that I can easily tell the difference between them. And so, enter Amtrak's massive fleet of ALC-42s.
There are 2 main types of ALC-42s. Ones that have the basic K5LA horn, and ones that have the different K5LA-B horn. If you don't recognize that second one, don't worry, I've got some nerdiness ready to go to explain it to you.
A K5LA horn makes a B major 7th chord in first inversion with the octave added, more commonly known as a B major 6th. This is one of the most common US horns, and is by far the most common passenger rail horn in the US. The K5LA-B creates a E-flat diminished 7 chord with the octave added. This creates a dissonant, almost evil sounding chord, especially when compared to the normal K5LA. On Chargers, it sounds like this.
The majority of ALC-42s have the basic K5LA, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there are any K5LA-B horns above locomotive 346, which kinda sucks, because this is by far the better of the 2 ALC horns.
The most well-known of these is probably Loco 320, but there are a handful of others that have the K5LA-B. Name me a fleet of rolling stock that has had a more generational fall-off horn-wise than the Bombardier cab car.
When this fleet of cab cars first began to blow up in the US in the 90s, they had some absolutely masterful horns. I'm talking square tags, narrow fonts, hybrids, you name it, they had it.
Here in California, you can still get a taste of this on ACE, the commuter rail running from San Jose to Stockton, but Coaster in San Diego also used to have these beautiful horns until rich people got mad that horns were loud, and NCTD made them far quieter, simultaneously ruining their tone. This was followed by the entire fleet being replaced by 3rd generation, or raised letter K5LAs.
Now, I'm nowhere near one of those people who hates raised letters with a burning passion, but I think you can still tell these newer horns are nowhere near as good as their older counterparts.
Now, with that being said, I can't deny the vast majority of raised letters sound pretty bland and get old real quick. For those not in the know, this is one of the older gen horns. And this is one of the newer gen horns.
Now, we're not done, because the newest generation of Bombardier cab cars uses an entirely different horn that, well...
Okay, despite what you may think initially, the K5CA, the horn on the new gen cab cars, isn't awful. Its low horn is almost like if a raised letter K5LA and an RS3L were combined. The emergency horn is, well, awful, but not if you use it right. With all that being said, putting my weird horn fetish horn preferences aside, I think we can all agree that objectively, this horn is hot garbage. Freight rail's most common horn is by far the K5HL, a horn that is absolutely the horn equivalent to gum. It's great at first, but the longer you chew, the more you start remembering the tragedies.
Freight rail makes up the vast majority of America's rail network. The reason for that is a reason that I'm not going to get into right now because this is not an economic or a political show. This is a show so a dumb buffoon can rant about 2106 for 7 hours.
Now, past the K5HLs, there are K3LAs, the same K5LAs as before, K5LLAs, among several others, but they can all fit into the category of good but beaten to a pulp. Minus the K5LLAs, those sound really nice.
Given that I'm from Southern California, I can finally inform the rest of the world on the insane levels of horn foaming that happen in this state.
This isn't unique to California, but when I say Californian foamers have pretty much a direct hotline to anything that occurs to a horn on any state-supported route here, I mean it. I can be rest assured that if something as much as a goddamn twig is lodged in 2106's horn, I will know about it within the hour.
Now the reason for this is quite simple. Most of us don't really have much else to do.
Look guys, we don't have any native heritage units, most of our rail services have rolling stock that repeats on a daily basis, minus Surfliner, and if you were in this situation, what would you do? Get a life and stop watching trains all day, or document every time 6952 gets a horn swap and 2106 leads a capital corridor?
I think we all know what I picked.
In terms of Amtrak California, the best horns in this bubble are for certain 2013 for its classic F59 PHI horn, 2123 and 24 for their K5 LEPs, 2114, which probably has the best baseline K5 LA out of all the original Chargers, and in terms of cab cars, 8306 is by far the best 8300 series cab car, since it's not only got a great sounding horn, but it's also quite literally the only P5 horn left in service on Amtrak. For 6900 series cabs, all of these are honestly pretty good, but the best would probably be 6901, 05, and 08.
And with that, there's a pretty in-depth dive on a good amount of train horns from across the US. Now, I would do a more in-depth dive into these, but I don't have a piano with me right now, so this is about the best you're gonna get.
And next time you're trackside, maybe even you can single out 2106.